Hello, coming to you guys 4 days later after my accident. I originally started telling you guys a story when my husband was in the pharmacy picking up my pain pills. Here we are, 4 days after the accident, and I am in so much pain. It feels like my whole back is broken, even though the ER tells me three of my ribs are broken close to my spine. That's why it feels like my whole back is messed up. So anyway, I drew some very high tech illustrations to show you guys what exactly happened to me. Which, when I think about it, when I relive it in my mind, when I tell it, I just cannot believe somebody had their eyes off the road long enough for all of these things to take place, and they didn't know. So here we go. Here I am. I'm the second person at the red light. So I had somebody in front of me and somebody behind me. And here's the big intersection. And here's where she would have been traveling, in the right hand lane. So what happens is the light turns green. Okay. So the person in front of me goes. I'm looking forward. As I go, I get my nose of my truck out into the road. I look to my left and she's coming at me and she is not stopping. I could tell she's not stopping. There was no time to do anything. This person had cleared right there. And here I am right there. She comes and she strikes me right there. Meanwhile, I got somebody behind me. And also, there was someone sitting on the opposite side, also waiting for that light to turn for them to go. I guess they were coming straight. So then she's coming this way. She strikes me right here as my nose gets out into the street. Swings me all the way around where I'm facing the strip mall. I'm facing it. So she hits me. She travels alongside my vehicle, and then she continues on this way and ends up right here. She was in a Ford Fusion. I was in a 2005 Dodge 2500 turbo diesel. My truck was huge. I have an 8-foot bed, very heavy, very sturdy, huge truck. So I land here, and she keeps traveling, and she lands here. This is the entrance way. The strip mall's back here like this, and this was all a parking lot. So she swung me all the way around facing this way. So anyway, when she plowed into me, I immediately felt my spine jolt. I don't know. I've said it a million times. I don't know how to put it into words. I knew as soon as she hit my car that my back was messed up. I could feel it. I felt it all move. So when she spun me around, I lost my breath. It was kind of like a it knocked all the air out of my lungs. So I slowly collected myself. I did not move because I knew that it was bad. And immediately I can tell I was having pain breathing, like something was going on with my lungs. So I called 911, and they had told me it had already been reported. Well, the person in front of me was a nurse. The lady was a nurse, my husband told me. And then the guy behind me also stopped as witnesses, um, because they watched the whole thing. I didn't realize it until my brother came over and he brought me some dinner yesterday about how the guy behind me must have felt, because I inched out into the intersection and she plowed into me all right in front of his eyes. And meanwhile, the lady in front of me who was progressing forward, I don't know if she was turning left or going straight. I don't know. I think she was going straight because she didn't have a blinker on. She also watched in her rearview mirror me getting hit when our light was green and her light was red. So my husband, we live like 5 minutes away from what I was showing you. So he came up on the scene, and The witnesses, they asked me if I was okay, and I said I'm fine. And the cops asked me if I was okay. I said I was fine. They just asked a brief explanation of what happened, and I told them she ran the red light, she didn't brake, and she plowed into me. The EMS came over, and at this time, their partners were loading her into the ambulance. And I heard a lot of talk with her because supposedly she hit her face in the windshield and she had a lot of blood. Her head was all cut up. And I could look off into the distance and I saw her sitting, and I couldn't see the blood, but I heard her crying. And so she was at least awake during that particular time. So I declined the ambulance because my husband was there. I would have had to wait for another one. The hospital was like 3 blocks away. So I sat there for a good bit of time, sat there. My husband was going back and giving them information. They were giving me information. They loaded her up and all. And then I'm like, okay, let me get out. As soon as I moved my body, I knew I was injured right away. I mean, immediately I knew that something was wrong. So I slid out the truck. My truck sits high off the ground. I actually have a side rail that helps me step in and step out of it. So I slid down, and I mean, I just felt the pain right away. So I slowly got into my husband's car, and he drove me to the ER. And I was just in great pain. So they did some x-rays in the room, and then they did CT scans, and then the doctor came back and told me that I had 3 broken ribs, 3 fractured broken ribs on the back part of my ribs, on the back side of my back. So I went home, with some pain pills, and I've been in misery ever since. When I try to sit down, when I go to get up from a chair, when I go to lay down in my bed, it stretches my whole back in misery. When I bend down to sit on the toilet, I have to tense up because the pain is so great. My arm hurts really bad because my left arm, because from the force it pushed me into the driver's door. And I guess when it pushed my arms and it pushed my body with such force, I guess that's how the ribs broke between my arm resting against the side of my chest. From the impact, broke the ribs. I have a massive, massive bruise down the side of my left leg where I guess the door comes out a little bit with the door handle where my leg was. Massive sore swelling that they could see on the CT scan, the swelling from the impact of the door and my leg. I wouldn't wish this on anybody. Like I said, it's been 4 days. I don't know what to do with myself. All I do is take back-to-back pain pills. Ibuprofen gives me some relief. But I am in a misery. I see myself having a long road of recovery from this. I'm not mad about it, but it amazes me that somebody's eyes were off the road so long for a light to turn red on their part, a car to go in front of them, and then me inch my nose out, and still no sound or no marks on the ground, any indication that she made any attempt to brake at all. She slammed into me about 55 miles an hour, which this road is a 45-mile-an-hour road. It's the main stretch in my city. Not many people go 55 miles an hour. It always has a lot of traffic on it. This was at 10 minutes to 11 at night, which would explain it being no traffic and more people not being around. But I'm just in amazement that I'm only going to assume that she was texting or unconscious, because that's a long time. I mean, I could see, you look up and all of a sudden you got a red light and you see the first person maybe crossing in front of you. But for that person to get out in front, and then the front of my car is entering the road and you don't see me at all. It's almost like she slammed into me and she wasn't even looking. You know, I mean, it all, I knew that she was traveling at a high rate of speed. There was no time for me to, my truck is standard, so I would have had to hurry up, stop, and hurry up and throw it into reverse. Meanwhile, there's somebody behind me. But there was no time to do any of this. All I could do was just, I guess, brace myself because she was going to hit me. I mean, even if she looked up when she got maybe about 10 feet in front of me, she was going so fast, she would have never stopped that car in the time from when she actually impacted. My truck is totaled. And what's sad about that is it's a diesel truck. It has 180,000 miles on it. I've owned it since it was brand new. It's made rock solid. It is a beast. I plan to own that truck for the rest of my life. You know, it was well kept and it was well maintained. So now what I'm going to have is I'm going to get some sort of payout for my car, blue book value for my truck. I'm going to end up having to put that down and owing half on whatever else I get. So this creates a bill in my life. Not only a bill, but lifelong back issues. You know, because there's no way I only just have 3 broken ribs. I'm sure as time goes on, I am going to have other issues because of this. So please don't text and drive. Just don't. I mean, I don't, you know, I'm not a distracted driver, but I know that I'm a sucky driver, so I don't put myself in situations where I'm making long texts to anybody when I'm driving. But anyway, that is it. Just thought I would come on and report that the accident was bad. I hope she's okay. Because if I'm like this and I was buckled, I can only imagine what she's going through not being buckled. The only thing I can tell you is up to now, 4 days out, she hasn't contacted her insurance at all. Nothing. So nothing can go on until obviously the police report comes out showing her insurance that she was at fault. So we can get some sort of claims going like, I have no car. I have no vehicle. So, I mean, it really doesn't matter right now because I'm not in a shape to drive myself anyway. But like her insurance said, until we get a statement from her so we can kind of gauge who's liable in this, they can't do nothing. It's crazy, but at the same time, it makes me think, you know, can none of her family call and say, hey, this is what's going on? You know, she's, as far as we know she's still in the hospital. So none of her family can call. And I mean, I'm sure that if I couldn't call for myself, my husband would call my insurance and let them know what is going on with my vehicle. What has happened? What has taken place to get the ball going, especially if it was my motherfucking fault. Crazy. Just please don't be too distracted for that amount of time that you cause somebody else great pain. You cause somebody else the loss of their vehicle. You know, you put somebody else out who's probably going to have a lifelong back/rib issues for your doings. But anyway, that is all. I will come back to you soon and let you know how things are going. But as of right now, Donna is screwed. Donna is me. My back is screwed. I don't even know what to do for myself. All I can do is just sit around and be in pain and take pills and let the healing process and begin. Meanwhile, I'm out of commission for my life. Can't go anywhere. Can't bend down to change my dog's bandage on her Bobo. You know, I could barely lower myself to the goddamn toilet to pee or poo. Crazy. Just crazy.